I'm replying to this comment so it tracks back to the Fisher King video, but one of the oldest books on kingship and the Fisher King story is also one of the foundational texts of Taoism, which is the Tao Te Ching, which can be translated as the classic of power or the classic of the Tao and its power. Written by Lao Tzu, it's a collection of 81 poems. It's a guide for kings and rulers. It gives advice on morals and metaphysical concepts and political science. Taoism itself developed from Chinese folklore and shamanism. The Tao Te Ching, it tells the king how to be in alignment with the heavens and the earth. It speaks against accumulating too much wealth and being too power hungry. That the greatest power is being one with the Tao, and the land will prosper because of that. When the world lives in accord with Tao, fine walking horses can be retired from plowing the field. When the world fails to live in accord with Tao, even pregnant mares are used as war horses, and were forced to breed in the battlefield. The greatest crime is to have too much desire. The greatest disaster is to not find contentment. The greatest mistake is to desire for endless possession. Hence, when one is gratified with self-contentment, true contentment can then long endure. If the king can abide by the great Tao, heaven and earth will then be in harmony and shall descend sweet dew. This is that idea of the king's morality and health being tied to the fertility of the land and the rains. The Tao Te Ching did not create the religion of Taoism. There is no organized Taoism until a few hundred years after Lao Tzu. One of the earliest cults or organizations of religion of Taoism were called the Celestial Masters. This specifically is the Shang commentary, which was the Celestial Masters' interpretation of the Tao Te Ching. Taoism for Celestial Masters was less about kings and more about the population and the people themselves. But it was still just as important for any rulers or any kings to be in alignment with the Tao. So this is their commentary on that same text we just read. Heaven and earth would join in the dropping of sweet dew. Heaven and earth rejoice when the king practices the Tao and the life-giving moisture is produced. One of the facets of Chinese kingship constantly mentioned in various texts is that when heaven approves of a ruler, the rain is timely. Further, there are many records of heaven signaling its approval by dropping sweet dew in the courtyard of the ruler. But the focus of the Shang is here, as elsewhere, with the populace. When the king reveres the Tao, his officers and subjects will desire to emulate him. They will not fear laws and regulations, but the spirit of heaven. They will not dare commit wrongs, but will desire only to perfect their bodies. They will make themselves equals without having been commanded to do so. If you have a moral, good, model leader, your people will naturally follow suit. Regulate those with fame, and people who already possess fame should know when to stop. But Taoism was originally a guide for kings, and this is that Fisher King trope that was so ubiquitous in ancient cultures, which stemmed from shamanic, folk, and fertility practices.